Hello, and welcome to Diacritique, the channel of philosophy and difference. The Grammar of Empire, Michel Butor's A Change of Heart. Introduction, the year zero of literature. If we look at the post-war era as a new beginning, 1945 as a kind of year zero, we must recognize that mutations occurred in every field, and literature was no exception. This was the birth of the Nouveau Roman, the new novel. Much like a Beaujolais Nouveau, it arrived with a fresh, sharp, and sometimes polarizing taste. We know the names: Claude Simon with his endless sentences, Rob Grillot with his objective and clinical gaze, and Nathalie Sarraute. But among them stands Michel Butor, whose masterpiece, Modification, translated as A Change of Heart, remains one of the most radical experiments in the history of the narrative. The concept, a title of transformation. The title itself is conceptual. While it follows the tradition of Proust's In Search of Lost Time, it reflects a fundamental shift in the zeitgeist. In Butor's work, the novelty is immediate and unsettling. The entire narrative is written using the pronoun you, vous. This you creates a profound sense of unease. It implicates the reader, trapping them in a train compartment, abolishing the safe distance of the traditional narrator. Michel Butor called it the perfect novel because it ultimately reveals the rules of its own genesis. It is a book that watches itself being written, though the price paid by the reader is, admittedly, exorbitant. The journey, an entelechy of dreams. The plot is deceptively simple. Léon, a man of means approaching the threshold of old age, boards a train. He is leaving Paris for Rome. His mission? To find his mistress and bring her back to Paris to start a new life. But as the rails click beneath him, his plan begins to dissolve. The journey becomes a space of daydreaming, of constant flux, where places blur into one another. By the end, Léon abandons his project. He realizes the confusion of his own desires. In an Aristotelian sense, the novel is an entelechy, a completed reality where the displacement itself is the destination. The allegory of empire, from SPQR to SNCF. Beneath this story of adultery lies a deeper, darker allegory of empire. Paris, Rome, and the tracks between them are the spaces of imperial power. In 1957, the French Empire was breathing its last in its colonial form. The desire to bring Rome to Paris represents the incredible movement of imperial displacement. Butor is strikingly clear about this. He sees the shadow of the Roman roads in the black star of the French railways. Michel Butor famously made the connection between the acronym SNCF, the French National Rail, and the SPQR of the Roman Empire. The empire is a place where people move, yet this movement is not a true modification. It is merely shifting the center of a world that refuses to change its soul. The ontology of the intermediary, breaking the I. As a first-rank philosopher-writer, Butor believes the crisis of the modern world is a crisis of the center. Where do we locate the heart of the story? For Butor, the truth lies neither in the imperialist, Cartesian I, the ego that seeks to conquer, nor in the cold it of a world unfolding objectively. The real modification lies in the use of the intermediary, the you. This second-person perspective is the only tool capable of abolishing the old ideology. It is a reality that no longer seeks to possess the world, but allows itself to be transformed by the encounter with the other. Conclusion. Why Butor matters today. To read Modification today is to realize that our own life projects are often just ghosts of old internal empires. Butor invites us to a necessary deconstruction. To change the world, we must first change the pronoun through which we inhabit it. We must move from the conquering I to the vulnerable, shared space of the you. Call to action. Before we part ways, I have a question for you. In our digital age, where the I is constantly broadcast and the it is automated by algorithms, is there still room for the you? Can we still experience a true modification, or are we just passengers on a train whose tracks have already been laid? Let's discuss the philosophy of the journey in the comments below. If this exploration of Michel Butor and the Nouveau Roman resonated with you, please subscribe to Diacritique and hit the bell icon. Your support allows us to continue tracing the diagonal of knowledge across philosophy, art, and science. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.